Hi guys, welcome back. So here we go with selections for the knockout rounds of the Autumn Nations Cup 2020. Not that there's going to be another one, but anyway, we're into the sharp end here. So the first second place game is England versus France, the one we'd hoped for, although France probably aren't going to be able to field their first choice team because of this annoying arrangement they've got with the top 14. They can only play players for, I think it's 3 games. But I think we saw from the French game that they've got a lot of strength in depth. Will they have the cohesion in that team against England? I don't know, but all England can do is play their best. This is the team I put out to face them. Mako George Sinclair, I think Mako's come back to very near his best now. His carryings look really, really good. His scrummaging stood up. Sinclair's getting back into form. George has been very solidly good all the way through. Launchbury's done enough to keep his place. I thought Johnny Hill was going to be the guy who broke through in this tournament. It hasn't happened yet. He's looked good when he's come on, but Launchbury's having a bit of a renaissance. You're definitely not going to disrupt the back row of Curry, Underhill and Billy Vunipola, who are starting to really fizz. Young's had a bit of a skill off day in his last match against Wales, but I think he retains. You've got to play Ford Farrell if you're going to have a decent attack. I think Ford Farrell axis is the way to go, but Ford made a few mistakes. Farrell's not perfect either, but I think it's still their best combo. And if you're going to do that, I really think you have to have Ollie Lawrence. Hopefully he's fit, because they were seriously struggling for power and line hitters against Wales. On the wings, hopefully Watson's fit to start. He is a better wing than Jonathan Joseph, obviously, because Jonathan Joseph is a centre. And May on the other wing. Daly at fullback, who actually I think has been doing pretty well, to be honest. Some people don't like him at fullback, but I must admit, I think he's been playing pretty well. Cowan-Dickie, Genge and Stewart, I think are definitely your 3 front row subs. Add some serious impact. Then again, I'd go the 6-2 split with Hill, Earl and Willis. Interestingly, when Daly was looking a little dodgy against Wales, it did look like Earl was going to come on to the wing, but we'll see. 6-2 split is a tiny bit of a risk, but because Earl and Willis are so good and the threat that France will pose physically is going to be so high, I think you go for the 6-2 split. Slade on the bench there really adds some versatility as well. He will help with the 6-2 split. Now the Ireland versus Scotland third place playoff game I think is the most finely balanced. Going to be really interesting. 50-50, I'm not sure how it's going to go, but here's the Ireland team I'd pick. Healy and Porter I think are easy picks, clearly their best props, but I still would go with Kelleher. They might go Herring, to be honest, but I still think I'd go with Kelleher. Give him the game time, let him make the mistakes, gain the experience, because there's only one way to do it. If you keep putting him in and out, I'm not sure it's going to help him unless he has an absolute shocker again. But anyway, Henderson and Ryan I still think are the best second row pairings, and I liked Byrne at 6 against Georgia. He adds a line out option, he adds physicality, a bit of weight. And it's a shame that we haven't seen Levy in this championship yet. He is fit. I think they've missed a trick by not playing him. I would have picked him, but he hasn't played so far. He's not in the squad, so I can't really. So Connor stays at 7, although I would have had Levy. Hard one, Stander or Doris, but I think between the two of them, Doris has been more consistent in his performances, so Stander drops to the bench. If Murray's fit, then Murray plays at 9. Then Burns definitely stays at 10. I think he's better than Byrne at the moment. Bit more all-round to his game. Byrne with a Y is a better kicker, or a good kicker as well, but Burns has got a better passing game. Anyway, then I'll go for Lowe on one wing and Stockdale on the other. I think Stockdale is a good attacker, really strong, very dangerous. Has he got the silky skills of Keenan? I just don't think so, but he's still dangerous, so use him on the wing. Keenan at full back. Farrell's done well, I think, at 13. So Aki 12, Farrell 13. Actually, I think it's a very tight call on the bench. I think I'd have McCloskey on the bench. He does impress me. Physically, he's an absolute beast. Would add some serious impact from the bench. Tough on Earls. You could definitely have Earls there. Again, on the bench, I would go for Baird is the second row replacement. I just think he's got so much more to his game than Quinn Roux. Quinn Roux is a bit one-dimensional, but that one-dimensional is very strong, his physicality, of course. Then Stander, another strong sub, Gibson, Park and Byrne covering 10. That's my team for Ireland. Let me know what you think. Now on the Scottish side, obviously they've missed a game, but I'd keep the side pretty much exactly the same. Kebble, Brown, Fagerson, their strongest front row, Cummings, Gray, Ritchie and Watson. I think it's so easy to write into the Scottish team now. That consistency in the pack has been one of their big strengths. 8 still completely up in the air. I think Matt Fagerson gets another game because he's been okay, he's been fine, and there's no one really looking to take that off him. So give him another whirl. Price and Weir, clearly your first choice halfbacks. Johnson, Harris, same again. Van der Merwe and Graham add a lot of threats. Hogg, obviously, and the bench as is there. Sam Hidalgo, Klein continues to play well. Taylor's still got plenty of threat in him, even though he's a bit older. Same with Maitland, really. Skinner's versatile on the bench. So I think it's a very strong team for Scotland. Much more settled, much easier to pick than the Irish team. Will that give them the edge? I don't know. Ireland, you normally pick Ireland in these games of late, but Ireland are seriously rebuilding. There's lots of changes to their personnel. We'll see. Could be an absolute cracker. Let me know what you think. Now, the final team I'm going to go through is the Wales team to face Italy. Now, this is a must-win for Wales. Italy have been playing pretty well, and they've got a decent all-round game. I would expect Wales to win, but they haven't been playing well recently at all. Sure, they fronted up physically against England. They put a shift in, but the quality of their set piece and their attack has not been there. So they need a big game for sure. In the front row, Wyn Jones stays. I think he's their best loose head. I'd go Parry actually at hooker. Dee and Elias just haven't really done enough for me. So why not? Let's give Parry a go. He's got talent. I don't see what you can lose really by doing that. But any of those three, there's not a lot between them at the moment. Francis, I think, comes in for Lee. Lee had a bit of a torrid time against England. Then Ball, Alwyn and Jones. Now, if they can get this back row out, I think this is the best back row they've put out so far in the competition. I think Navidi's going to be fit this time. He'd go straight in the start at 6 to me. And if Tipuric's recovered from his HIA, he goes to 7, Faletau 8. By far, I think their strongest back row. Can they get it out for their final game? Then Webb, I've been hoping Webb gets a start for ages. He hasn't, so hopefully this is the start for Webb. If Thomas Williams is fast enough, fit enough, I mean, he's definitely fast enough, then he goes on the bench. Bigger, still their best 10, big competitor. Centres definitely stay. Johnny Williams looked impressive. Tompkins hasn't quite got into the tournament, but I still think it's a nice balance to the combo. I think Rees-Zammit has to play, he has to start. What a talent Rees-Zammit is. Keep playing him, keep getting him ball. He's quick, he's strong, he's got a good feel, natural feel for rugby, more so than some of their other wingers of the past, maybe North, Cuthbert, etc. Rees-Zammit, I think, really feels the game. Then Adams, 14. 15's a really hard one. I'll stick with Halfpenny because he had a really good game, I thought, against England. Very, very solid. If Liam Williams is fit, maybe he comes onto the bench, or maybe it's Watkins stays there. Then on the bench, D. Carey, Lee, Rowlands, Wainwright covering the back row. Like I said, Thomas Williams, I think, is a really good impact, 9. And then Sheedy covering 10. So that's my Welsh team. Should be too good for Italy, you'd think, but they've got to get it right in the set piece and the attack, which they haven't done so far. Let me know what you think of the team and how the game's going to go, and all these playoff games. Make your predictions and why. I'm looking forward to them. I hope we have some really good playoff games to finish off this tournament, and I will catch you next time.